The winter wind clawed at the broken windows of the small wooden house at the edge of the desert town, howling like a wounded animal. And Elena wrapped her thin shawl tighter around her shoulders as she stirred, the soup simmering on the old gas stove, counting each carrot slice like it mattered. Because when you had almost nothing, everything mattered, even the sound of boiling water, even the warmth of steam against your face, even hope, fragile as it was, clinging to life inside you the way she did every day. Elena had been poor for as long as she could remember. Not the kind of poor that came and went, but the kind that settled into your bones and taught you to expect disappointment before joy. Her parents were gone, taken years ago by illness and exhaustion, leaving her with a house that barely stood and debt she could never repay. Yet she stayed, because leaving would mean abandoning the last thing that connected her to who she was. That night, as darkness swallowed the desert and the moon hung low like a silent witness, she heard a knock, not loud, not demanding but hesitant, like whoever stood outside already expected rejection. She froze, heart racing, because knocks after sunset were never good news. Yet something in that sound felt different, desperate but restrained. When she opened the door, the cold rushed in, and with it stood a tall man wrapped in a worn coat, his face weathered, eyes sharp yet exhausted, and beside him a small boy clutching his hand, shivering so hard his teeth rattled, his dark eyes wide with fear. The man spoke softly, introducing himself as Thomas, his voice steady despite the tremor beneath it, explaining they had been traveling, that their car broke down miles away, that the boy was sick, and they needed shelter just for the night. Elena noticed his accent, the quiet dignity in the way he stood, and the subtle way he positioned himself protectively in front of the child. And though fear whispered warnings in her mind, something stronger answered, compassion born from knowing what it meant to have nowhere else to go. She stepped aside and let them in, unaware that this single decision would unravel secrets far greater than she could imagine. Inside, the house was small and bare, the walls cracked, furniture mismatched but warm enough, and Elena offered them soup without hesitation, apologizing for how little there was, while Thomas thanked her as if she had given him a feast. The boy Daniel ate quietly, eyes lighting up with each spoonful, and when Elena touched his forehead, she felt the heat of fever, her heart tightening as she fetched the last of her medicine, the one she had been saving for herself, and gave it to him without a second thought. As the night deepened, the wind screamed louder, rattling the walls, and Thomas helped her reinforce the windows, his hands rough yet careful, moving with the precision of a man accustomed to responsibility. They spoke little, but in the silence Elena sensed layers to him, pain, resilience, and something guarded, as if he had learned long ago that revealing too much could be dangerous. When Daniel finally slept, curled on the couch, Thomas sat awake, eyes never leaving his son, and Elena realized this. Stranger carried the same weight she did, the fear of losing the only person who mattered. What she didn't know was that Thomas wasn't simply an Apache traveler down on his luck. He was a man who had walked away from unimaginable wealth, hiding from a world that wanted to use him, and tonight in this fragile house owned by a poor young woman who believed she had nothing left to give. Fate was quietly setting the stage for a truth that would change everything.